Zerg, lured by the psi emitter signal, descended upon the unsuspecting Confederate forces and annihilated them. Once again, the Protoss fleet, under the command of High Templar Tassadar, arrived and incinerated the planet. Boom, baby. It's a big push.
Greetings, Commander. Receiving incoming transmission.
The time of our final strike against the Confederacy is close at hand. Before we can strike at Tarsonis itself, however, we must break through the Confederacy's most potent defenses. General Duke will brief you.
I've defended Tarsonis in over 30 major battles, so I know its defenses inside and out. There are 3 primary orbital platforms that serve as staging areas for the Confederate fleet. If we assault the central platform, we should cause enough of a ruckus to allow a small force to break through the planetary defenses.
General, I'm impressed. I never figured you for the frontal assault type.
Well, the Confederates have Omega and Delta Squadron troops defending the platform. And they're nothing compared to my Alpha Squadron boys.
Right.
Alright, well, another big attack mission. And this one, we gotta take out 2 forces of Terrans to ensure our victory. And we got a pretty big head start with our resources. We got plenty of buildings, so we don't have to spend a lot of money teching up to a lot of stuff. We just have to stabilize our economy, and yeah. Oh, and we got Duke as a unit in this one.
Hang on, we're in for some
I
chops.
can't believe this. Alpha Squadron never would have left this equipment behind. That's what I call sloppy.
Go ahead.
So yeah, in this one what you want to do is, you see that I left 1 SCV on the platform we just started. You want to use that as your base of supply and upgrades. So that way you're not cluttering this part of the base with supply depots and everything else. It's a little neat trick I found, and it helps. And yeah, here we have an expansion with us in our starting area, but we're going to use the 2 command centers to, one to be close to the minerals so we can get faster access to that, and one close to the gas so that way the SCVs don't have to travel twice the length to just give us a gas. And we only need a decent amount of gas. We don't need that much. We need like maybe 600 just so we can start building siege tanks and start moving out. Maybe a couple upgrades here and there. But yeah, once you've landed, deploy everything. Make sure you put Duke on hold over here by the ramp, since he's the most powerful unit you have in the beginning. You want him to take point in defending the base. You use the raids that you started with as your kind of mobile strike squad. Build a supply depot so you can actually get stuff going. And yeah, from here on out it's just reinforcing this whole base. Because as you can see, with 3 SCVs we're not going to do anything. The good thing about starting with 2 command centers is that we can pump out SCVs a whole lot faster than the other missions. And yeah, as you can see, we got some Marines over there, and just to show you how powerful Duke is, he one-shots a whole Marine. He doesn't care.
Orders, Captain? Right away, sir. Yes, sir.
And you might be wondering, why are my command centers golden? Well, I did the little pre-order bonus, and yeah, I got that skin. It's pretty decent. So yeah, here we see why you want to have the raids on standby, because our whole base starts getting attacked by them. I try and micro them, but I picked the wrong one, so we lose 1 raid. But yeah, we hold off the attack. 1 went for Duke, and 2 other ones went for our raids, and we managed to survive. At this point, you want to get an engineering bay going, because as you can see, they're going to be relentless in their drops. Well, maybe not relentless, but a little annoying in their drops, especially around this area, up until we wipe out this squadron, which is, I think, Omega Squadron? I'm not sure. I think brown is Omega and maybe orange is Delta, or the other way around. But after this mission it doesn't matter, because we're never going to see those colors again. Well, we are, but in a different sense. So yeah, get your refinery going so you can start mining your gas. And you also want to build 2 bunkers here, so that way you're not solely dependent on Duke holding defense. Yeah, once your engineering bay is also done, you want to put a couple of defenses there because Delta or Omega, whichever the orange Terrans are, will, well, it's not 100% guaranteed, but they might try and attack your supply depots, and if you don't have any anti-air, which is what will deter most of the attacks over there, then you're gonna lose your SCV and you're gonna start losing your supply depots, and yeah, it's gonna be a whole lot of pain in the butt. So as you can see, in this one we're gonna do the basic strategy of siege tanks and something to defend them with. Instead of Goliaths, I'm going with Marines this time, since they're gonna be a little more mobile and they put out a little more damage for ground units.
Not enough minerals.
As you can see, there's a whole lot of space here, so you can fill this whole thing up with supply depots and never have to worry about any space in your main base. Especially at this weird starting area, because you eventually run out of room really fast. Siege a tank. You might want to keep an air unit close by just so that way the tank doesn't attack. Like as soon as the unit starts attacking you, they can attack first, since you have higher ground. And yeah, start marine production. And this one we also, this is why you need a dropship in this area, because in your building the SCV will tend to get stuck. So as you saw when we finished our armory for our siege tank upgrades, the SCV decided to just be like, you know what, I'm gonna end right here in between the depot and the armory, and if we didn't have a dropship, you just essentially lost an SCV without losing it, if that makes any sense. So you want to keep one handy, so that way you can lift, you can put him in the dropship, get him unstuck, and let him build. Here we complete a second factory so we can pump out more SCV, or not SCVs, more siege tanks. And you want to reinforce your raids. You don't need many at this time right now. With the 3, you should be fine. Since majority of the time, most of the enemy just throws like 1 or 2 raids at you, or maybe a marine, and 3 raids is more than enough to take care of them. So yeah, we'll start working on our weapons upgrades for our siege tanks, because that's going to be the backbone of this whole strategy. This is what we're going to use to essentially win the whole game. Eventually, once you stabilize with the minerals and gas, you'll be able to use one of the command centers to get your mineral production, or boost your mineral production. And as you saw, we connected it to the nuclear silo, so which that means is now we have access to nukes, but we don't need them yet. We'll use them for sure, but not yet. Now that we have siege tanks, we can put Duke back on point and the raids on a kind of patrol-ish area where they're most likely to attack, and just hold off any attackers. And here we're going to start our weapons upgrades as well, since we're going with the marine route. Our weapon upgrades for our tanks are going pretty good. We're almost done. We're going to start pumping out more tanks and more marines as soon as we put more SCVs into the other minerals.
Orders received.
Well, piece of me, boy.
So yeah, this mission is a little interesting because
Yes, sir.
it's the first time they tell you, it's like, all right, just kill everything. Let's see how you do. And I remember the first time doing this mission, it took me quite a bit longer because I couldn't figure out what strategy to use, and Terran versus Terran is usually a pain in the ass for me because, well, it's a mirror match, and like everything else, mirror match sucks. So here we completed the cloaking and range upgrade for the Ghost. We don't really need the other ones. I just kind of upgraded those so we can nuke a lot easier.
Yes, sir.
Level 1 upgrade weapons on siege tanks complete, so we're going to do this level 2 because we want them to hit as hard as possible. The enemy is going to be full of marines, fire bats, their own siege tanks, but they won't deploy them yet. In this mission they take it easy on us, and yeah, their tanks just try and attack us with the regular attack and Goliaths. So Yeah, as you can see, they try to attack us, but Duke is on point with the defense, and we got the siege tanks as well. It's at this point that I'm like, you know what? I think we can move out. So we'll leave 2 on defense, and we'll start moving out with these 4. Since we have a couple of a pretty good amount of Marines, I think we'll be fine. Especially backed with Duke. We'll give them stim packs, even though we rarely use it here. And yeah, the reason you want the Marines is because, as you saw, the Goliaths just kind of run up onto the siege tanks. And because they have to reload, essentially, their shots, you want the Marines to tank a little bit and help them destroy anything that might get close, like fire bats. Fire bats will just run at the siege tanks. Well, that's kind of what they're supposed to do. And yeah, that will mean that if you allow them to get in a range, the siege tanks are going to fire on each other, and that's a whole lot of shooting that you don't want to take. As you can see here, our own tanks are destroying our Marines, but we're kind of holding off this attack. We're left with 2 Marines from the 6 we started. Thankfully, Duke is a beast in this mission because he's tanking a lot of the hits, and he's also dealing a lot of the damage as well. Here, as you saw, we lose 1 tank because they're just endless. This is that phase in the fight where you gotta fight through all their units that they had queued up before, like when the mission started. All the units, the developers were like, yeah, they start with this, but they won't attack you until you do something. We put more tanks into production, and we can slowly start to move up. As you can see, the frontal defense of this army is gone. We can start moving up a little bit more because now they're not sending as much units as they were before. With 2 more tanks on the way, this will be easy. So yeah, here we're past most of the defenses. We get to the main base of the Brown Terran. Delta Terran, I swear. I'm just gonna double down and say Brown is gonna be Delta and Orange is gonna be Omega. But yeah, once you're at this point, you can let your Marines loose, since you're kind of destroying most of what the enemies bring in. You can leave Duke with the tanks to provide some defense, and then your Marines can go on the offense and wipe out any of the buildings there. We start building a science vessel because we're gonna need it for the next Terran base. Nothing really needs detection, it's more for the defensive matrix. So yeah, as you can see, once you take out that factory and the Marines are doing work on the left side of the map, or left side of this base, you can just unsiege your tanks to this spot and start wiping everything else out. 2 of these Marines started hunting down the SCVs, and yeah, we take out this command center because we're gonna start mining from this area. And yeah, once this area is clear, you unsiege your tanks, and you're gonna want to defend this choke point right here, because that's where Omega Squadron is gonna be coming from. We build our command center to start our mining process, and we put Duke over there. And yeah, Marines are just gonna start doing work on the remainder of this base. Once we take out that barracks. Oh yeah, also by the way, if you put Duke right next to them, you can start getting in some shots on the Omega troops. And here's a neat little trick. A Yamato cannon can kill a missile turret and a photon cannon in 1 shot. However, it doesn't work on Zerg structures. It will get it to like 25%, and then you have to finish it off with auto attacks or another blast. It's kind of dumb that the Zerg can tank it that much, but Terran and Protoss are their defense buildings are one-shotted. But yeah, here's where the remainder of this base is. It's just a lonely starport. Yeah, first army of Terrans is not that hard. As you saw, you just need your tanks and you're good to go. It's the second one that's a little harder because they've had more time to build more units, and they're also in a more difficult spot to get to. The default way they want you to do this, it's a little harsh because you have to go through a bridge and all your units are in this choke point. Well, and yeah, so what we're gonna do is as you saw, we were clearing the area with Duke. We're gonna drop like kind of like right behind them. So you see, we're clearing the area with Duke and the siege tanks. And yeah, from there we're gonna use our dropships. We don't need more. The two that we started with are fine. And we're gonna start dropping tanks and marines over there. It also helps if you can nuke the area, either here or later on. But yeah, that depends on how hard you want to go. Definitely want to use the Duke's Yamato cannon to clear most of the anti-air. Yeah, here once we clear the area, we drop some marines to try and secure this whole thing. And it's time for what you've been waiting for. We're gonna use a nuke. We don't have to, but we want to. As you can see, they have a lot of forces, so you want to cloak first. And then select the target. Right here seems pretty good because it'll get a lot of units. And yeah, we just wait.
Call the shot.
You want to move your ghost as soon as possible because I think even with the range upgrade, he might be susceptible to damaging himself. And yeah, boom. We get the building into the red, but we're not going to act quickly enough, so an SCV is going to repair it. That's fine. We just wiped out a whole lot of tanks that were going to get in our way. So for now, we're going to move these marines up and start getting some siege tanks up onto the higher ground, so we can start attacking Omega Terrans. Orange Terrans. I'm just going to go for a color now. And we're definitely not going to do this with 4 tanks, so we're going to need additional tanks in here. This is another way you can also leapfrog, by the way. Once you have your tanks sieged, like so, you got the high ground, but then you get reinforcement tanks, and you can bring them in with a dropship. I'll show that in a little bit. But yeah, let's build another nuke, because it's nukes. They're cool. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. As you can see, the 4 tanks sieged up are doing work, making sure the area is safe. Marines are over here making sure that our tanks are safe. And instead of unsieging and moving, we can use this dropship to leapfrog 2 in the front. And yeah, this is why the science vessel is here. Defense matrix. This allows those 2 tanks to, well, for lack of a better word, tank a lot of the damage while we leapfrog 2 more into the lower ground. Now with those set up right there, we can just move the marines normally. We don't have to put them into the dropships. And yeah, we can start moving in on this base. This is the main meat and potatoes of this base. Like, this is the area where you want to focus your firepower on. The rest of the map, I'll show you in a little bit. It's not as dangerous as this part of this part of the base. Kind of turtling a little bit. Build a couple more raids for something later. With the nuke finished, we're gonna try and clear a little bit more. As you can see, there's still units coming in from the left side. I don't know where they're coming from though. I think it's just random units the game had, and now it's just now deciding to throw at us. Yeah, just leapfrog away. So yeah, here we see a whole lot of supply depots, and I think the nuke can get them in one shot. I'm not sure. I know for sure it gets the missile turrets in one shot. Oh, this is where we messed up big time. So our defensive matrix is down because it requires 100 energy. And yeah, we send our marines to attack this battle cruiser to keep them off our tanks. But sadly, yeah, they got kind of wiped. And we use this cloaked ghost because we're thinking, oh, we're so smart. Whoops. We lost them. So we're gonna have to use our wraiths to finish the job.
Coordinates received. Roger. Transmit coordinates. Attack formation.
And yeah, these marines, well, we can bring them in a little bit. We'll reinforce ourselves. Yeah, for now we can use, like, if that happens to you, you can also use your backup raids to reinforce your siege tanks. At that point in the mission, you should be good because you've taken out most of the offensive units that the Orange Terran had. As you can see, they're more concerned with fixing their command center and fixing a whole lot of stuff. So we're gonna send this squadron of raids to the very left side of the map on the near the top, because Orange Terran has an expansion base that they aren't using, but they're also preventing us from using by placing a couple buildings in a bunker. Yeah, once here we reinforce, we also scan to make sure we didn't miss any buildings. I didn't have to scan, I already know I didn't, but that's to show you guys. And yeah, here's a random bunker with no units in it, but it's just there to prevent us from mining, even though we're mining over here from Brown's base. And yeah, this is the final spot where you need to take out a building. It's a lonely starport. It's what was producing all those raids and battle cruisers that were attacking us. So we're gonna just finish it off quickly so we can get this mission done. We send a full dropship of marines. We got Duke attacking it, and we also have the raid squadron coming up, and a random battle cruiser from the dark. It doesn't matter because we win.
This is Duke. The emitters are secured and online.
Who authorized the use of psi emitters?
I did, Lieutenant.
What? The Confederates on Antigua were bad enough, but now you're going to use the Zerg against an entire planet? This is insane.
She's right, man. Think this through.
I have thought it through. Believe me. You all have your orders. Carry them out.
Oh boy. Arcturus is just using the Zerg now as his own private weapon. I mean, makes sense, but in the long run that's gonna hurt you more because now you have to take out the Zerg. But yeah, now we get to see a cool little cinematic as well as a recap for next mission. Like a beacon, the combined power of the psi emitters reached out to the far corners of the Terran sector, luring billions of Zerg to the capital world of Tarsonis. The Zerg, overrunning the Confederacy's best defenses, proceeded to lay waste to Tarsonis' major cities and industrial centers. Damn Zerg.